Let us commemorate Rome's most triumphant victory!
As a tech demo for what the Xbox One is capable of visually, Ryse, Son of Rome is impressive. Developer Crytek's rendition of ancient Rome looks terrific, and its revenge story is handled with narrative care and cinematic flair. The problem is, the combat doesn't always keep up with the high bar Ryse sets for itself in all other departments. Essentially, Ryse is about going to beautiful places and repeatedly stabbing everyone you meet there, but the stabbing doesn't hold up for long. Ryse's story begins with Rome crumbling under a massive barbarian assault, with your character, Marius, as a proud decorated Centurion in the Roman army. Moments later it flashes back and he's a young, fresh-faced greenhorn. Seeing exactly why the circumstances became so dire was my main motivation to progress through the 6-hour campaign. And despite the non-chronological structure, the great story is never difficult to follow, even when the plot takes a few unexpected turns. The sounds and sights are both absolutely top-notch, and more varied than I'd expected. With 900p resolution and a smooth and steady frame rate, Ryse takes us to beaches dotted with shipwrecks, trap-filled swamps, and Crytek's signature lush forests. Character animation is excellent as well, even with dozens of figures on screen at once. Bashing, slashing, and rolling looks great, and makes these fights appear real and brutal. Strong voice acting and excellent facial animations make the characters feel authentic.
Please, release my daughter. I beg of you.
Ryse's biggest issue is that it's a game about fighting, but not even halfway through, you'll have seen and experienced a vast majority of your offensive options. In most battles, you can chain basic hits, bashes, blocks, and heavy attacks together in nearly any order and still be successful. Because it's so hard to fail, that remains fun only until the flashy animations soon lose their luster. There is a system in place to land perfect attacks, but those are also trivially easy to execute after just a few hours of practice. Action games like this usually grow more complex as combos and items unlock. But almost all of Ryse's enhancements are passive bonuses, like health bar upgrades, so it doesn't ask any more of you as it goes on. The gory executions that Ryse loves so much can be upgraded, but they're more concerned with the flashy outcome than changing up the skill it takes to pull them off. The only thing that makes fights play out differently is a healthy enemy variety, which includes some foes who are unblockable, some who charge you, and some who attack in a flurry of dual sword attacks. I do wish Crytek had made the enemy types more visually distinct, though. Once an enemy is almost dead, you can initiate a brutal execution with one button tap. At that point, it just becomes about matching the color of the glowing enemy to 2 of your Xbox controller buttons. You're given plenty of time to hit the prompts, and even if you miss, the execution still goes through. More powerful executions are definitely more useful, but the input required hardly changes. This one design choice managed to remove most of the danger from a game about burly men who savagely kill each other. Every so often, the routine hack-and-slash combat is broken up with special sections of different gameplay. But what they have in common with the normal combat is they never ask much from you. They're also all about the spectacle, which, to be fair, is pretty impressive. Boss battles aren't common, though they can be frustrating when they arise. On one hand, bosses often attack faster and have heavier attacks that can't be blocked, which is a nice change. On the other hand, Ryse likes to pull out the old regenerating boss health trick, but annoyingly doesn't bother to significantly change their attack patterns. You just fight the same boss twice in a row, and it feels like padding. Ryse's co-op multiplayer modes let you dismember enemies with one friend in a constantly changing Roman Colosseum. What gives it a slight edge over the routine of the single-player combat is selectable god bonuses. One player might allow both to recover health with every execution, while the other might allow both to earn focus. Also, the environment shifts constantly, with new blades, towers, and pits springing up every few minutes as the objectives change. It's a cool way to keep the combat dynamic within one round, but it's still the same passive experience at heart, and it gets old quickly. Ryse, Son of Rome has an entertaining story and sky-high production values that put on an impressive show. The gameplay that's there isn't bad, it just never develops into anything that challenges you with any significant depth. Without anything to build or improve on, there's no reason to replay Ryse once you've seen the interesting 6-hour story. You can check out more videos on IGN, but in the meantime, here's an extended look at Ryse's brutal combat.